of the most horrifying names of the year 2020, or should I say the 21st century. The pandemic has hit humankind so hard that even small coughing or sneezing strikes fear in everyone's minds. Nobody has any clue of what's going to happen in the future. People have locked themselves in their houses. Cities are under lockdown. Nobody knows when the vaccine is going to arrive. Nobody knows when the pandemic is going to end. Everybody wants to know about the virus. Everybody wants to know about the pandemic. So it's better to talk about the virus and the pandemic with facts rather than creating some viral WhatsApp forwards with all the falsified informations and fake news. So here I am with my first and the very fresh video on my channel. So without further delay, let's get started. At the end of the year 2019, several cases of pneumonia were reported in Wuhan, a city in Hubei province of China. At first, they thought this was some normal pneumonia or the usual flu, but later, they realized that this was something new. Actually, they had encountered something like this before, but this time it felt a bit modified. Very soon in the following year, 2020, in the month of January, this virus was declared new, or in the scientific terms, novel. This novel virus showed similarity to the SARS virus, or the severe acute respiratory syndrome virus, which was responsible for causing the pneumonic pandemic in the years 2002 and 2003. Based on these findings, the WHO decided to designate this virus as SARS-CoV-2. Before finalizing the name SARS-CoV-2, WHO proposed several other names like 2019 nCoV, that is the 2019 novel coronavirus, and HCoV 2019, that is the human coronavirus 2019. But they somehow settled with the name SARS-CoV-2. Many people are still confused between the names of the virus and the disease that it causes. So let me make it very clear. The name of this virus is SARS-CoV-2. And the disease that it causes is called COVID-19, or the coronavirus disease 19, since it was triggered in 2019. Why has the virus become so infectious and so dangerous? How does it infect humans? What's the real bad news right now? And should we expect any good news in the near future? How and when will the pandemic end? We'll try to find some answers to these questions. We'll try to uncomplicate some technicalities and scientific terms. The coronaviruses are not new. Previously, SARS, MERS, and now this novel coronavirus has infected the mankind, causing the PHEIC, or as the WHO calls it, Public Health Emergency of International Concern. The MERS virus, or the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome virus, was responsible for causing the pneumonic pandemic in the years 2012 and 13. The name coronavirus is originally rooted from the word crown, mostly because of its structural organization. If we do not dwell into the details, we can assume that this virus is almost spherical in shape with specialized proteins protruding out of it. These are the proteins which enable the virus to make contact with the cells of the host, which is us. These specialized proteins are called spike proteins. These spike proteins help the virus to attach to the surface of the cells of the host. Similar to these spike proteins, which are expressed on the surface of the virus, several receptor proteins are also expressed on the host cell surface. These specialized receptors are known as ACE, or the ACE2 receptors. It stands for angiotensin converting enzyme 2. Let's not dwell into the details, but these ACE2 receptors have a very strong affinity for the spike protein of the virus. Once the virus has made contact with the host cells, it uses its machinery to transfer its genetic material into the host cells, thus making it infected. You must have heard that a COVID-19 patient suffers from severe pneumonia or lung disease. This is because the cells present in lungs have large number of ACE2 receptors expressed on their surface. Due to the fact that these ACE2 receptors are present in large amounts on the surface of the cells of the lungs, it makes them a potential target site for the SARS-CoV-2 to attach. And thus, the patients of COVID-19 suffer a lot from lung disease. Apart from the lung cells, these ACE2 receptors are also present on the kidney cells, heart cells, neurons, and the insulin producing cells. Due to this reason, you might have heard that a person suffering from COVID-19 also suffers from multiple organ failures in severe cases. What are these ACE2 receptors? Why are they named so? What's their specific function during the infection or the invasion? How does the virus transfer its genetic material into the host cells? Well, we'll talk about all of this in another video. For now, we must focus on what's the bad news about the coronavirus right now. Even with a good recovery rate, the novel coronavirus has infected more than 16 million individuals across the globe, out of which around 10 million people have recovered and the death toll is around 700,000. The fatality rate of COVID-19 seems to be 13 times higher than the seasonal flu. A recent study from the University of Washington reveals that 1.3% of Americans who are infected with SARS-CoV-2 and develop COVID-19 symptoms ultimately die of the disease, whereas in case of the seasonal flu, this rate is around 0.1%. A famous American cardiologist, Eric Topol, tweeted a significant result from a recent paper stating that the 6 feet rule falls apart even with a slight breeze, which means that the 6 feet of social distancing might not be enough in certain conditions. In late March, it was found that 2 Chinese students who had no coronavirus symptoms were quarantined in a hotel room for 2 days. Shortly thereafter, they were diagnosed with COVID-19. A recent study reveals that the coronavirus infected people can contaminate the environment before even developing or showing any symptoms. A recent study published in the PNAS, or the very famous Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, suggests that when a person speaks, the virus droplets lingers around them in the air for around 14 minutes, which is long enough for another person to get infected. Recently, a study conducted at the National Institute of Biomedical Genomics, West Bengal, claims that there are 11 different strains of the SARS-CoV-2 present in the world right now. A new and a more infectious strain of the novel coronavirus now dominates the global cases. Scientists have shown that a new mutation in the SARS-CoV-2 genome has enhanced its efficacy to infect the human cells. According to the research published in the journal Cell, D614G is the name of the new strain of SARS-CoV-2, which is comparatively more infectious than the previous strains of the virus. The D614G mutation was first encountered in February and March, and now has spread rapidly. Approximately 70% of the viruses that are circulating the world right now carry the D614G mutation. According to a tally by Johns Hopkins University, India went from the 6th worst affected country by the coronavirus to the 3rd. However, we should also not forget the fact that this country is the 2nd most populous country in the world. Despite these, scientists have also shared some good news which can be seen as a ray of hope amidst all this crisis. A recent study published in the journal Cell revealed that the D614 gene mutation has indeed made the virus more infectious. However, it is not likely to cause more severe symptoms. This means that the virus now can easily spread among the individuals but cannot cause severe life-threatening symptoms. Russia has become the first country to successfully complete the clinical trials of the coronavirus vaccine on humans. Sekhenov University of Moscow has completed the human trials and has become the first one to do so. The results have proven the effectiveness of the medication. Covaxin is the vaccine being developed by the Hyderabad-based biotech company Bharat Biotech along with Indian Council of Medical Research, that is the ICMR. The company earlier received approval from the Drug Controller General of India for conducting the phase 1 and 2 of the human trials. Apart from the development of the vaccine, the researchers are also looking at the alternate treatment and therapeutic strategies such as the mesenchymal stem cell therapy and the convalescent plasma therapy. If you Google about when is the pandemic ending, you may find several articles from scientists and researchers stating that they are expecting the crisis to end on its own. In the year 2003, the SARS-CoV-1 outbreak vanished mysteriously. 8,000 infected individuals along with 700 fatalities were reported in 29 countries. Why it disappeared quickly still remains a mystery for the scientists. But the scientists believe that a genetic mutation which was actually damaging for the virus may have emerged, which led to the end of the outbreak so quickly. Could this happen with SARS-CoV-2? Well, outbreaks like COVID-19 don't just end. Stringent and effective measures can reduce transmission and localize disease to an extent that transmission can be brought efficiently to zero through rigorous testing, tracing, and isolation. Until and unless an effective vaccine is developed against the virus will continue to exist and keep on infecting individuals. Basically, our combat with COVID-19 is going to be a long, hard slog. The only thing that we can do right now is to trust the scientific community and cooperate with each other. It is still unclear that how the virus will progress or mutate. As of now, the virus seems to mutate very slowly and not change much of its original form, offering a hope for a single vaccine to work against it. We do not have much good news except for the fact that some vaccines have successfully passed the primary phases of the clinical trials and some are entering the terminal phases of the clinical trials, and of course some are going for the human trials. Till then, stay safe, stay in. I'll see you in the second part of this video.